When I first started investing in real estate, I did not understand the power of this and I was absolutely terrible at it. When it comes to software for bookkeeping, you really need to be good at bookkeeping. The decisions that you would make in year 1 or 2 are definitely not the decisions you're gonna make in year 10. Their main job is to protect the brand. On today's episode, I'm going to be answering all of the questions that y'all have asked across my social media channel. If we haven't met before, my name is Heather Blankenship and I've been investing in real estate for over a decade. So let's get started. Okay, first question. What software do you use for bookkeeping and reservation software? Okay, those are two totally different things. So let's start with reservation software. So your software can be different for different asset classes, okay? So I own RV parks, mobile home parks, Section 8 multifamily. So for my long-term rentals, I use a software called Build-In. I started out using something different and we transferred to this because of the robust options that it have, but I also have a lot of friends that use AppFolio, and I think they're pretty equally great. So if you're considering this, I would do a demo with both. When it comes to my RV parks, I use a software called CampSpot. I love the features that it has with dynamic pricing, with occupancy optimization, with site lock fees, and the way that it runs my POS system for my store, as well as the reports that it does. It's really an all-inclusive software that allows me to do everything in one spot. When it comes to software for bookkeeping, you really need to be good at bookkeeping. Bookkeeping can make or break your business when it comes to paying taxes, because being really specific on that is gonna help your accountant make sure that you are maximizing the tax benefits that you have access to. So when I first started investing in real estate, I did not understand the power of this and I was absolutely terrible at it. My books were a mess. But as I learned more and more about tax benefits and tax strategies, I got more intentional with keeping track of all of this. So I actually started a bookkeeping company for real estate investors. If that's something you're interested in, you can comment below. But one of the main strategies that we have is making sure that we track every single dollar that you spend and categorize it properly so we have maximized those tax benefits. But if we circle back to the software that we're talking about, I've always used QuickBooks. I'm in Louisiana, so I know costs will vary. From your experience, what was a cost per RV site to build RV parks, including plumbing, running electric, etc.? You're absolutely right. The cost is gonna vary dramatically depending on where you are, what tap fees cost, the types of utilities you're using, what kind of amenities you're gonna have. You know, we're gonna pave the sites, are they gonna be gravel? What are you gonna do with the roads? Are you gonna build pools and a bathhouse? Sky's the limit, right? In our industry, the average is about $30,000 per site, but that has a wide range, right? Because some people have gravel roads, gravel sites with very few amenities, and then some people build full-on water parks. So this can vary dramatically, but the average for our industry is $30,000 per site. Do you have live-on property managers for your RV and glamping properties? If so, do you take a tax break from this? I'm not really sure why you would get a tax break from that, but I'm also not an accountant, so ask your accountant that part of it. But I definitely have live-on property managers. Depending on the size of your park, this is something you may or may not need. There are so many things, just like in a hotel, that can come up in the middle of the night that you do need to have somebody on site or someone very close. Each of my properties have a note on the door, and it's on the door for a reason. We'll talk about that in a second, with an emergency contact number that they can contact after hours. And again, that person needs to be able to be there within a couple minutes. So it's really convenient if they're able to live on site. The reason I put it on the door instead of somewhere else is people will literally call and wake these people up for any imaginable reason. We need it to actually be an emergency that they don't need to call the police department for. So we want them to care enough to contact the manager to walk down to the office and get that number instead of having it readily available. And this is the only way that I have found to get them to take that part seriously. Next question. I'd love to know about how the QR codes you use for your laundry room works. Will you share? So because I use a laundry system that doesn't use quarters anymore, it now uses a QR code. They simply download an app, scan the QR code, and they can pay for their laundry from there. That way the money is direct deposited into my account instead of us having to count quarters and make deposits. Because let's get real, I don't want to go out there and count quarters, and that's a really great place for people to steal money. And it's just another way to automate some of our systems. Most of the brands for commercial laundry rooms have this option now to have a QR code to scan instead of paying with quarters. As it relates to RV parks, can you talk about franchising versus starting your own? Making the decision to be a franchise or not is a huge deal. I know that it can be something that you want to lean on because it makes you feel more secure and like you've got extra help when you're first starting out. But depending on the industry you're in, franchises sometimes are really important and sometimes they're not. For example, if we were talking about hotels, people who are traveling down the road and they're stopping for the night just to continue on to their next location, traditionally use a specific brand. They're used to staying in a Hilton. They're used to staying in a Holiday Inn. My family specifically stays at home twos because they have a larger room to stay in that accommodates my whole family. But RV parks don't exactly work that way. You've got two primary franchise options, KOAs and Jellystones. They have different models in their contract on what you need to pay them, but both equal out to about 10% of your gross, not your net income. And RV parks have an average expense ratio of about 50%. So what that means is you're paying them about 20% of your net. So if we talked about what 20% of your net income could do if you spent that money in marketing or somewhere else, you're gonna get a whole lot more benefits in the RV industry than you are by putting that money with a franchise, because the benefits that they give you do not outweigh the expenses when franchises don't have as big of a pull in this industry as they might, say the hotel industry, for example. So my personal opinion is the things that you gain from the franchise don't outweigh the cost of them, especially after your first year or two in business. You're gonna learn so much by diving in and just figuring it out those first couple of years that by the third or fourth year, you're gonna really hate paying those franchise fees. And those contracts, I've seen anywhere from 6 to 10 years. So the decisions that you would make in year 1 or 2 are definitely not the decisions you're gonna make in year 10. And you gotta remember, even though that franchise is gonna have some helpful tips, it is always their job to protect the brand. So when someone's writing a bad review, someone calls and complains about you to the franchise, or you really need some support, a lot of times they are gonna side with the customer regardless of the situation, because their main job is to protect the brand. Now, I'm not saying there aren't benefits to the franchises. KOA puts on a really good conference with some really great education, but nowadays with social media and the access to other people, you really could get this information somewhere else. They also put out a really great free report called the North American Camping Report. It's done by a third party, but paid for by KOA. You can look it up online, and it gives you a ton of data about our industry to help you make decisions. Things like the #1 thing campers are looking for, and you're gonna get a list of things like mountain biking, hiking, fishing, campfires, trail walking, all these things. Those are gonna help you make decisions on where to put money in your business. They talk about the average stay. They talk about the ethnicities that are camping and what type of camping they're liking. They're talking about the different demands in our industry. You can go get that data and make really great decisions based on that without giving up a percentage of your income. Love your videos. You're killing it. Thanks. Getting close to closing on my first RV park. Congratulations, that's huge. Do you rent out the travel trailer stationary at the park? If so, can you avoid putting in a separate bathhouse for short-term rentals of the travel trailers since it's hooked up to utilities? When I first started, I would have thought the exact same thing, but the answer is no, you can't. You would be surprised how many people who have really nice campers still go use the bathhouse. And there's a couple reasons for this. If you remember, a lot of those campers sleep a lot of people. So you might have 2 adults and 4 kids. You might have 2 different couples where you've got 4 people staying in that same camper, plus they've got a couple kids. Those campers maximize how many people they will sleep, and they still usually only have 1, maybe 2 bathrooms. So a lot of times people still go to the bathhouses just for capacity. And the second, those bathrooms in the campers are really, really small. And so are the water heaters if they don't have a tankless hot water heater. So it's not uncommon for them to go to the bathroom. It's not uncommon for them to want to use the bathhouse simply for space. And also, some people just don't want to get their bathroom dirty and have to clean it when they take their camper back home. So for a lot of reasons, people still really want that bathhouse. And it has been cited in data that it is one of the primary ways that people make their decision where they're going to stay at a campground is the scores that they get in the Good Sam report on their bathrooms. So don't skip on those bathhouses. And if I were to give you a pro tip, I'd have some really great photos of them on your website. Next question is, where do you find management teams? This is a great question because the RV industry is really niche, and it's really, really great for your business to find somebody who has some experience in either RV parks or hospitality. I would definitely still hire somebody who had experience in the hotel industry because it is a very similar industry. It's literally just outdoor hospitality. There are websites like workcamper.com where you can hire people who have some experience in this industry. They travel around with a different lifestyle, living in their campers, and they use this as a way to see the country and work at the same time. But if you're looking for a higher level management person, I would use traditional job sites like Indeed, LinkedIn, or ZipRecruiter to post your job description. If you've enjoyed watching this video or have any questions yourself, like and subscribe or ask those questions below.